What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of No Disrespect But Podcast. And just to keep it consistent, man, just want to make sure I mention to like and subscribe to the channel before we get started. Also, if you want to support your favorite podcaster, your boy here, the link will be in the episode description. So feel free to support us for as little as 99 cents a month. So appreciate the support, everybody's been giving up until this point. But this is this episode, man. We want to stick to the point of talking about the WNBA finals, and this could very well be the last episode that we're talking about. Recap of game two, and could be a preview of the decisive game three, where you could see the Las Vegas Aces be the first champ since the Sparks, I believe, in '01 and '02 to be repeat champions. So that's over 20 years where WNBA hasn't had um, teams win multiple back-to-back championships. So we'll see how that goes. But man, let's just talk about it. Man, game two, it was really just a runaway. The halftime score made it look close. Liberty went down with a 6-point deficit to the Aces. But if you watch that game from start to finish, man, the Aces just had it on their mind. They dominated on offense, on defense, loose balls, everything. Just in every phase of the game, they were just a better team than um, the New York Liberty. And obviously, up to this point, we are not getting the WNBA finals that I projected we'd get. I don't think we're getting the WNBA finals that experts or people around the league that cover the league thought we'd get. But the Aces are out to prove a point. And when I say prove a point, that starts with their commander in chief, Asia Wilson, reigning 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Arguably could have been the MVP and should have been MVP. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but led the charge, 26 points, 15 boards on 63% shooting. She's a member of the Southpaw Nation, so I got to give her some extra love. And just the jumper was so sweet. Jab, step, put it in your face, bucket, nothing but net, not even hitting the rim. It was just beautiful, especially seeing her isolate kind of on that key. They do a good job of just kind of getting her one-on-one situations. She also does a great job running the floor, kind of being able to get a rebound, get to Chelsea Gray, the point goddess, and just running down the field or running down the court and getting in good position. Um, there was one that stands out where she kind of got a beautiful pass from Chelsea Gray and just kind of did a little euro and had open access to the basket after getting rid of Jonquel Jones on that move. So, I mean, Asia, she's been leading the charge for her team and kind of setting the tone on both ends of the floor. And speaking of the point goddess, Chelsea Gray, 14 points, 11 assists, so just keeping it consistent. Kelsey Plum got it going, shooting the ball, 23 points on 50% shooting. Jackie Young added 24 points, 43% from three. I think she was 3 of 7 on the night. And like I said, they were just in every phase. It just really didn't matter. They got buckets when they wanted. They got stops when they want to. Outside of that, I believe it was a 12-0 run that the Liberty had in the second quarter. But other than that, the Liberty just couldn't get anything going. And speaking of which, Sabrina Ionescu, baby girl, you talk about the Mamba mentality. At some point, we're gonna have to see that. This is '04 Mamba. This is '04 Mamba that we're seeing right now that couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. We need, some of those other examples. We need '02, we need '01, we need 2000, we need '07, we need '08, we need '09 Mamba. That's what we need. Because what's being displayed, granted, this is her first WNBA finals, but I mean, for someone who's supposed to be one of the up and coming stars in this league, someone who I think can be the face of this league, if not already the face of the league, coming out of Oregon, you got to get better performance. I mean, she shot 20% from the floor in this game, and she hasn't really been able to get things going offensively. I mean, he has shot the ball a ton, but not really as aggressive. I think they may have to, and we'll talk about some game three stuff, but I think she's better when she does have the ball in her hands and can make plays for others and play off of that. But um, what they've been doing these first two games just hasn't been working. Courtney Vandersloot, another point goddess in her own right, has just been downright unplayable in this series. Isn't making shots at times, most times, isn't even wanting to look for her jumper. And That's not what you would expect from a champion. I thought she might bounce back in game two, but again, shows that she cannot be played in these situations. And so, wondering what's going on in that front. Jonquel Jones kind of came to play today too, but she can't do it all. You want her to be the main scorer, and you want her to try to defend Asia Wilson on the block. And obviously, there's been some difficulties with that with the series that Asia is having. But I mean, at some point in time, and she's going to need some help. Former league MVP in her own right. But I don't think anyone expected when she came over that she had to be the one to kind of captain the ship. We knew she could. We knew she had that ability because she did it with the Connecticut Sun. She was their franchise player, but she was there to be a defensive force to dominate the boards. But she's doing it her own right and kind of get some easy buckets in the paint. But I just think John Quell is being too heavily relied on. And you saw in game two, they kind of tried to, force her to shoot some threes a little bit more, which I kind of said was going to be important. You were going to need some bigs to kind of stretch the floor. But at the same time, I mean, it's not like she's a knockdown shooter from there. So, the more you can get her some easy buckets, it'll be better. But when your guards aren't hitting, it makes it hard to get the bigs involved. And, um, you know, one of the things I really want to preface is, guys, we know who the league MVP was. It was Breanna Stewart. And I'm not going to say she didn't deserve it, but going up against someone who finished third in the voting, and albeit it was the closest, race in WNBA history, Asia is outplaying Stewie by a wide margin. It's not even close. Let's just talk about game two, 6 of 17 from the field, only 14 points. Um, Averaging about 17 and a half points a game, which is below her average. I believe she averaged 23 points in the regular season, only 39% from the field, and 20% from three. So we talked about John Quell having to kind of stretch the floor a little bit. Breanna, who has this tool, in her game, isn't delivering. And honestly, she's not really getting a lot of good shots from 3-point range. You're seeing a lot of contested 3-point shots. So, what are some things that they could be doing offensively in the game plan to get her better looks? But at the same time, you're just not seeing that same intensity that you're seeing from Asia and the way Coach Hammond is able to get her in positions, the way Chelsea Gray, as the floor general, is able to get her in positions. You just aren't seeing that on on the Liberty side of things. It's almost as if Stewie, when she does have the ball, is having to drive from the 3-point line and trying to make something happen. But you are the league MVP. That's what we expect. That you are ordained as the best player in the world with that award. And I mean, no disrespect, but seemingly you ain't the real MVP. I think Asia Wilson is putting everybody on notice that I should have been the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year because Breanna Stewart ain't it right now. And so, as we preview Game 3, I want to see what it looks like. I mean, you are the league MVP, Breanna. You are a UConn grad, and so you got that brand on your chest as well. And so it's time. Like this ain't your first rodeo. We talked about Sabrina Ionescu's struggles, but this ain't your first rodeo. You've been a two-time champion. You've been a two-time WNBA Finals MVP. You shouldn't be afraid of the limelight. You shouldn't be afraid of the bright lights. And it's time for you to step up. And to be quite honest with you guys, as I look into this game 3, I find it hard. I mean, come on. Coach Hammond came from the coach factory of Go Popovich, ladies and gentlemen. And so I find it hard. They know how to smell blood. They know how to close the deal. And while I want to pick the New York Liberty to win this game out of respect, I just can't right now. I think there are a lot of things that have to happen. I think first, Courtney Vandersloot cannot start. She cannot be in the starting backcourt. I think you need to go ahead with in starting Marine Johannes. She's going to provide some floor spacing. And then I think I think that will then get the ball in Sabrina's hands more as a playmaker. She can kind of create her own offense as opposed to having to create it for her, especially when her counterpart in the backcourt just isn't even looking to score the ball. Um, but I think Sabrina and her playmaking, her ability to score is going to put more pressure on the backcourt that's defending her when in some of those Jonquel Jones pick and rolls, some of those Breanna Stewart pick and rolls, which might open up some more easier looks for the two of those women. So there's going to be some things. I think, like I said, Courtney Vandersloot, point goddess in her own route, own right, probably going to be a Hall of Famer, but she can't play in this series. At least not now. She can't start. You have to make a change in that starting lineup. So that's something I expect. Um, I expect them to be a little more up tempo. Um, they haven't really scored a ton or as often as they usually like to score, and so I think you're going to see a lot of up tempo. Then you're going to see New York Liberty empty the bench a little bit, maybe kind of playing with that second unit that may unlock some of Courtney Vandersloot's aggression offensively. So we'll see how that goes. They're going to have to set the tone defensively. Obviously, John Claude Jones is a big part of that, but Breanna Stewart's a big part of that. Laney has been doing her thing, kind of trying to play on the perimeter and sometimes having to play inside. But, they're going to need a collective effort defensively. I mean, Vegas has been making it look easy. And speaking of Vegas, why would I pick against them? One, I know the culture there, I know the coaching there, I know the players there. And you can't tell me that Asia Wilson, coming from where she's coming from in South Carolina, and we know how that coach is over there. So we know she knows all about killer instinct and getting the job done. And for 1 second, you can't tell me that Asia Wilson isn't ready to put this thing to bed. I will go ahead and say I do think the Aces will win this series. I had them winning this series in the beginning of the year and having them repeating as the champions. But I at least thought this series could go 5. And honestly, I don't think this series can go 4. I want to give New York Liberty a game out of respect at this point, but I just can't. They're going to have to show me because I just think the Aces are ready to get this over with. Sorry, Las Vegas or people of Las Vegas, you won't be able to party, with your team in the stadium or in the arena when they win. But you should be proud of this team because if I had to put something on it, I'm going to go with the Aces to finish the job. I think they're going to get the brooms out, win this series in a sweep. I mean, there could be some things that the Liberty changed that give them an edge, but I don't even know if that's going to work. It's just something that they'll try to do. And so we will see. We will see what the Liberty are made of. They wanted the right. They earned the right to be champions and play for a championship. Let's see if they have some pride about themselves or if they're going to lay down and get swept. There's going to be a raucous crowd over there in New York, so that place is going to be packed to the brim. Their fans are going to be wild. Their fans are going to be ready to cheer on their team and try to cheer them on to victory. But it's hard for me to say that this Sunday that the Las Vegas Aces won't be your WNBA champions with a uh, series sealing victory. So that's what I'm going to go with. I think the Aces, led by Asia Wilson, are going to put this game away. I think I mean, even though she scored 23 points on 50% shooting, I think you're about to have a scoring explosion from Kelsey Plum. I think she's going to be just a straight heat jacket just on fire, and Liberty having their guards haven't showed an ability to stop the backcourt of the Las Vegas Aces, and I don't see that happening now. And knowing Coach Hammond, she's a killer in her own right. She's going to make sure they take care of business, that they're not thinking about the next game or the next game or the next game. They're thinking about this game. And for Las Vegas Aces, we'll take care of business and be your back-to-back champions. But at the same time, Stewie, are you the real MVP or not? You got to show me because right now, Asia Wilson is making everybody that voted against her eat their words, eat their votes because she is on one. She is out to prove that, hey, I'm a champion. I'm the best in the world. And I'm taking it to anybody who you think is better than me. And she has not been wrong yet. Up to balling out of her mind, making it look easy, making it look like a layup. So I'll go with the Las Vegas Aces winning, Asia Wilson winning WNBA Finals MVP. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm coming back on Tuesday talking about Game 4, but I doubt it. Anyways, if I offended anybody, look, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.